Hello everyone, happy Tuesday, welcome to our today's webinar and thank you for joining us. My name is Maya, I work as Product Marketing Manager here at Acceleratio and I will quickly introduce you to our today's topic and then Tony will be your demo presenter today and he will show you all of these novelties on our tool. Hi Tony.
Hello everyone.
Okay, so let me just quickly give you a short intro on our company. If you are not already familiar with Acceleratio, Acceleratio is a software development company. We are from Zagreb, Croatia and Europe, and we create solutions for SharePoint, Office 365, SQL Server, Windows Remote Desktop Services and Citrix admins and consultants. And we have customers all over the world, as you can see, in 50 countries worldwide, and we have more than 2,000 customers, and we are very proud of our results this year. On this slide you can see the product that we currently offer. We have SPDocKit, which I will present you with a little bit later. We have CloudKit 365, which is a tool created for Office 365 administrators and consultants. Then we have SysKit and SPDocKit. Please keep in mind that I will share the webinar and the presentation with you. I will send it via email tomorrow. We've saved about 15 minutes at the end of this webinar for your questions and answers, and we will try to answer as many as possible of these questions, but if we won't have enough time, we will recap them on our blog. Please use the questions and answers box here on the GoToWebinar applications and place your questions there. So let's now jump into SPDocKit. For those of you who are not familiar with our tool, I would like to present it quickly. A few years ago when we launched SPDocKit, it was a SharePoint documentation tool. Now it's much more than that. It's a SharePoint administration and management tool. You can use it also to explore and manage permissions. You can audit farm configurations according to community best practices. You can create numerous reports on content and usage. You can create your own rules and queries to enforce governance policy in your company, etc. So it's much more than just a documentation tool as it was in its early days, let's say. Now I will quickly show you our novelties from the versions 6.2 and 6.3. This version of SPDocKit is a minor release, but I don't like to call it minor because it brings some pretty cool and useful new features and reports. The biggest novelty that we have in this feature in this release is SPDocKit Event Viewer. This is a really massive upgrade of SPDocKit's monitoring feature. Now it helps you to gather all of the ULS and Windows event logs into one console from all of your farms. What is very useful for here to mention is that you can filter all of this data by category, source, event ID, correlation ID and message. This the event viewer works in real time and collects events continuously, and you can use it on multiple workstations. On this slide you can see a graph that shows you how this feature works. You have to install and configure SPDocKit on the SharePoint farm you wish to document, and then you have to use a server outside of this selected farm, install and configure SPDocKit event collector service, and the final step would be to install SPDocKit event viewer application and to start exploring collected ULS events on any Windows server or on a workstation. And here on the right side you can see the result. You can see how the SPDocKit event viewer looks like, and Tony will show you afterwards a quick demo of this feature. Except SPDocKit Event Viewer, we have new permission compare options. You can compare now two different groups. You can track changes, and except permission compare options, you have new alerting options, again for permissions, and accept permissions for best practices. We have also added a pretty useful improvement, let's say, to our export options. Now you can export farm documentation and the overview of farm differences to Excel, and you can use its filtering options to dig deep and to really find the data that is most important to you. Except that, now you have option to navigate quickly to your preferred site, explore the real-time live information in Live Site Explorer. This is one additional very interesting feature. You know that Microsoft launched Feature Pack 1 for SharePoint Server 2016. And they gave you the ability to log the SharePoint administrative actions, but it isn't so simple. You have to use PowerShell scripts, etc. And this is why we decided to add this new report to SPDocKit. This is Administrative Actions Report. It is a centralized place where you can easily analyze and see really all of these administrative actions along with some useful information such as time, user, action, the target, correlation ID, etc. Except that now we have new min role support according to the Feature Pack 1. Okay, this is everything for me. Tony will now, Tony will continue with the demo, but I would like to ask you to stay with us until the end because we have prepared a jolly surprise for all of you. As we all know, December is before us, and it's a season of sharing and caring, so please stay with us. We have something very cool for you. Okay, Tony, now the spot is yours, so please continue.
Okay, let me just switch to my screen. So I'm just going to share my screen now with you guys. So you should be seeing my monitoring console for SPDocKit. So as Maya said, in version 6.2 of SPDocKit, we have introduced this new feature. We wanted to create a solution that's going to allow you to quickly search all your event logs and all your ULS logs from SharePoint forms. As you know, SharePoint creates all the ULS logs and stores them as files on your file system. So if you are running a large farm, it can be very challenging to find events that are spread across different servers and in multiple farms and things like that. So if you are managing either a large SharePoint farm or a SharePoint farm with multiple servers, or if you are managing multiple farms in your environment, like test farms, development farms, and stuff like that, I think you are going to find our addition to our tool very useful. So what happens here is we have a service in background that indexes all your logs. It creates a searchable index that we then use to retrieve information from your farms, and we give you the ability to search and crawl all these logs and display them in a user-friendly search format. So what you can see on my screen is our new SPDocKit event viewer. So this is a viewer that exposes the search interface for you and allows you to easily query and get information from our index. So I have one farm here for this demo environment, and I just need to click on this farm, and the search interface for this farm is going to fire up and show me the ability to search. So let's imagine that I have a problem with my farm and that my end users are reporting some kind of a problem, and somebody sends me either a correlation ID or an error message that they have received. And so let's say that they received a message saying cannot open database. And I'm just going to type that into my search box, and then I'm just going to hit search, and this search is going to index all my everything that's in my database of my event logs, and this is going to show me some interesting stuff. So as you can see here, there's definitely a problem with my SharePoint currently. So it seems that my SharePoint timer job cannot open the spconfig database. So that's definitely a problem, and now I need to dig in deeper, and I need to find out why exactly this database is not available. To tell you the truth, the database is not available because I just made it to go offline for the purpose of this demo, but this is a typical scenario that you might be resolving in your environment and something that you might be troubleshooting. So this can be helpful because you can get all the logs coming in from all the different servers on a single console. On my left-hand side, I have the ability to filter these logs. So this is a server farm, a SharePoint farm that has 5 different servers. So I can further filter this out by selecting a single server that might have a particular problem. So if I click on SP2 on the left-hand side and then search again, the results are going to be filtered, and the results are only going to show you results coming from this particular farm. I can also filter by different sources. So in this case, I have either ULS logs or event logs. So in this case, on this server, only stuff from event log is coming to the index, but I can then remove the filtering, and I can see that on my other servers, I also have some stuff coming in from the ULS log. We also give you the ability to search or to filter by level. So on the left-hand side, we currently have critical and unexpected issues coming in, but I could have different levels like medium or high or something else that has been configured to be gathered from my SharePoint service. I can also search by any other keyword. I can filter by time. So for example, I used only today as my time frame. I can move that to yesterday and see if I had any similar issues yesterday. So no cannot open database yesterday. So that seems to be okay. So I'll just switch to today just to get this done. I can also have a correlation ID. So for example, here I can search by correlation ID, and this is going to retry me all the messages that are connected to one particular issue. So this can be one common problem that you might be resolving in your environment, where your end users are going to report that they have experienced an issue, and they are going to give you the correlation ID, and then you just need to type in the correlation ID to our search box, and we are going to get you all the event logs that are connected to this particular issue. We can also give you the ability to export all these results into Excel format, so you can easily analyze them or share them with your colleagues, or do some further analysis of what exactly is going on. This particular search interface can search multiple farms. So in my case, I only have one, but you can easily add additional farms and then connect all these farms together so that you can have the ability to view everything from a single console. We are working on some additional improvements, so stay tuned for next release. We are going to add more cool features to this for this event viewer. I think you are going to like it, and you're definitely going to use it even more with everything that we are planning to do here and to expand it. So this is basically a quick overview of what our event viewer can do. I'm just going to switch back to my primary SPDocKit interface, and now we are going to talk about some other features that are available in the new version. We have worked very hard to improve everything related to compare. So we heard you loud and clear that you want to have more abilities and more features in compare area. So you wanted to have a lot of stuff. So some of the things that I'm going to show you today are related to permissions. So you said to us that you want to know more how permissions compare over time. So that's why we have introduced 2 new features that give you the ability to show how 2 different groups are different. So if you give permission to a group, it might be different from perspective of time. So as time goes by, 2 groups are going to change membership, but they're still going to be connected to your SharePoint site. Or you can even compare 2 different groups to see how exactly these groups are different and how members of these groups are different in your SharePoint site. What is beneficial with SPDocKit will give you the ability not just to compare memberships of SharePoint groups, but we also dig into your Active Directory and provide you with the ability to compare the different groups and provide you with the ability to compare not just the users that are members of these groups, but also the groups and from 80 that are members of these groups. So just going to open our compare interface, and I'm just going to select one snapshot that I have in my environment. I'm going to select one group on the left-hand side, and then I'm going to select a different group on my right-hand side. So I'm going to compare two groups, and the interface is going to show me how these groups are different. So as you can see on my left-hand side in my accounts payable group, this is a SharePoint group from a SharePoint site. And on the right-hand side, I have a different group called approvers. It's also a SharePoint group from a SharePoint site. And as you can see, the members of accounts payable group is a group called the balance sheet checkup group. And this is an AD group. So I can expand that and see how users that are members of the left-hand side group are different, and how these users are missing in the other group, and that is the approvers group. So as you can see on the lower part of the screen, we detect different scenarios, like stuff missing on the left-hand side, stuff missing on the right-hand side. We also give you the ability to detect if a particular user has been disabled or enabled. So for example, if you have people that have been disabled in Active Directory, you can then use this type of compare to compare and see how the membership has changed over time. As you can see, when I was doing compare, you can choose different snapshots. So SPDocKit revolves around snapshots. So that means that we create a snapshot of your environment that you can then easily compare with something that happened either in the future, in the past, or that happened after that snapshot in the future. So you can compare these two snapshots and see how things changed and what exactly is the problem and how these problems happened and what do you need to do in order to make this problem fixed, and what exactly has happened to your environment. We also, when we talk about compare, you said to us that you need the ability to get better alerts for compare. So we created an additional feature called alerts that is giving you the ability to get alerts where something changes. So for example, I could create a new alert. Then you can choose and say, okay, this is my demo alert. And you can choose how this alert is going to be delivered to you, either via email or just a document that's going to be stored to your SharePoint site or your file share. And then you can create reports that you want to get if something happens. So for example, you can create either farm differences or other differences report, or you can create a permission difference. So, or something that I showed you just recently, you can create a group-to-group compare. So every day you can receive a report that gives you differences between two groups if you want to strictly control some situation, or you want to make sure that there are no differences in some permissions or stuff like that. So you can easily schedule a report like this to be delivered to your email, and then you can get it, and you don't need to check SPDocKit every day. So every time the snapshot is created, you can receive an email from us with all the differences. We know that SharePoint is complex and that there are so many features inside of SharePoint. So that's why we have introduced one additional feature, and that additional feature is the ability to export everything that we have in our database as an Excel file. So we have offered from the version 1, we have offered the ability to save everything to a Word document. Then we introduced an additional feature to export everything as a PDF. But for some customers that have really complex environments and that want to do additional analysis of their environment, where they want to further dig into data and do some reports on their own, they were missing a proper full export that's going to export everything into a single file. So that's why we have introduced a new feature that allows you to generate the entire documentation as an Excel file. So I'm just going to choose that. I'm going to stay with the default options here, and I'm just going to create a snapshot of the entire environment. And this is going to create an Excel file, and then I'll be able to do further analysis of the data that's inside of a file. So I'm just going to close this, and let's take a look at the, for example, web applications list. So here I'm going to see all the web applications that I have in my system. I only have 5 web applications, but 6 web applications, but even here I can do some analytics, and I can do, like, for example, if I just want to look at the central administration, I'm just going to filter this, and then I can see everything related to central administration, and I can then either print this or use this for some other analysis, or if I'm planning an upgrade, this can be useful. So for example, if I want to do an upgrade, I want to see the list of my site collections with all the names and administrators. So if I want to check, for example, if some of these site collections need to be removed from the system, I can easily use a report like this to give it to somebody, just copy paste, and then create some report of my own that can be useful for Excel. So unlike Word and PDF format that are very static files, Excel can be easily manipulated, and you can create a report on your own that can be useful for any kind of further analysis and stuff like that. So this can be very helpful if you are planning to do additional analysis. I told you already that in SPDocKit everything goes and revolves around snapshots, but that doesn't mean that you cannot use the tool to explore your system. So we had Permission Explorer available for some time now, but what we have introduced in the version 6.2 is the ability to create not just to explore permissions, but also to explore settings and site structure of any site collection. So, for example, if I just expand my SharePoint intranet site, I'll be able to explore permissions, to explore settings in this particular environment. What I just need to do is I'm just going to show you a different snapshot of that. Let me just click here and I'm just going to expand the portal, and what I'm going to be able to do now is I'm going to have the ability to explore settings that are specific to this particular site collection. So I'm going to see all the permissions and everything related to my site collection, and I'm going to see all the features. So this comes live from SharePoint. So every time I click on something, the system goes directly into SharePoint and it retrieves information from SharePoint about this particular site collection, and it shows me data that is specific to this site collection. So this can be very useful if you're trying to explore something. You can dig deeper and you can see all the site collections, or sorry, all the subsites, all the lists, all the workflows, and everything that is related with this particular site collection. So it can be very useful for when you are trying to analyze something, you are not 100% sure what is wrong, and you want to see that in action, and you want to see what exactly is happening in this particular file. Maya mentioned before that we are presenting you 2 versions today. So we have released version 6.2 in the late October of 2016, and then Microsoft released SharePoint 2016 Feature Pack 1. And Feature Pack 1 had 2 very interesting features that we wanted to immediately document and give you the ability to create documentation and some interesting reports based on that. So what I have here, my farm is a farm based on Feature Pack 1. So you can see here that my version is SharePoint 2016 patch Feature Pack 1. So I already have that ability in my farm, and what I'm going to show you now is my farm topology. So my farm topology, as I said, this farm is a 5 server farm. I have a SQL server here, and then I have a couple of SharePoint servers. So we are using SharePoint 2016 introduced a feature called min role, and min role gives you the ability to specify a role, dedicated role to SharePoint server. So as you can see, my first 2 servers are web front ends, and my 3rd server is an application server. And then, custom application server. And then I have something called application with search. So this is a new min role that combines 2 min roles that were introduced in 2016. So the new min role from Feature Pack 1 is a combination of the 2. So with the SPDocKit, you will be able to document all that, and you will be able to analyze which role is being enabled on each server. So that's why we rushed 6.3 version into production, to give you the ability to document all these new roles if you have a SharePoint 2016 Feature Pack 1 file. Feature Pack 1 also introduced some very interesting features related to auditing of administration and auditing of actions performed in central administration. I know many of our customers, many of you asked us to give you that ability. We were not able to do that because there was not a reliable log that we could tap on and give you that report. But from Feature Pack 1 2016, we are able to do that, and if you have deployed such a farm, we can then connect to those logs and give you a report that you need. So I'm just going to open my my permission reports, and there is a new report called Administrative Actions that gives me that information. So what you are seeing on your screen is a log of all the administrative actions that happened in my SharePoint 2016 farm. And as you can see, I have my co-worker Joel Harden. He was upgrading this farm, so you can see here that he was upgrading database. So he was upgrading the central content database. So this was the time when he was performing upgrade. And then I can track Macy. She created a new group, and she was adding users there. So a lot of interesting stuff can be seen here, and I can easily filter all these actions and see what exactly has happened on this server. I can filter by time and see, let's say, in the last 14 days, what kind of operations were performed on this particular server, and I want to know if somebody, let's say, made changes to central admin. So I can detect all these changes, and I can see them in my report for administrative actions. And so if you have 2016 Feature Pack 1, you are going to get this out of the box with the latest version of SPDocKit. So Maya said that we have a news to share with you. So today on this webinar, we are announcing a new tool that's going to be helpful when you are managing and documenting SharePoint farms. This is going to be our new free tool called SPDoc Pulse. So at the end of the webinar, we are going to give you a link where you can download the tool. So this is an inventory tool that helps you scan your domain. So I can go here and I can configure my configuration. In my case, I'm scanning the entire domain. You can choose the organizational units that you want to crawl. And once that is configured, the system is just going to go to your domain. It's going to grab all the servers, and then it's going to detect if SharePoint is installed on that server. So as you can see here, it has detected that I have only one farm in my demo environment, and this farm is the SharePoint 2016 farm, and these are the servers that are running on that farm. We also detected the roles that are being used on each of these servers. So I know that this is a database server and that this is a web front end. And when I click on that farm, I get more information about farm health. So this is very basic information like memory usage and CPU usage and disk usage. So we are giving you visual indicators like yellow color and green color that indicate if there is a problem or if everything is okay with the server. So as you can see, my farm is performing fairly okay. I only have some servers that are using a lot of memory, but that is okay if I have a SQL server or something like that running on that. So from this view, it seems that everything is okay. If something goes into red, that would be a problem. So SPDoc Pulse, completely free. Just grab it from our website and crawl your domain and get more information about your SharePoint parts. So we're going to go back to Maya and then to questions.
So okay, so just go to pulse.spdockit.com, and this is where you can download this tool. The tool is free, as Tony said, and enjoy using it. Feel free to share your opinion with us and let us know if you like it, of course. Okay, so this is where you can find us. You can contact us at support@acceleratio.net. You can try SPDockit if you didn't until now at spdockit.com. or just use the chat box or contact us via phone. So, okay, now we can jump into questions. Tony, if you are ready.
Okay, just give me 1 second here.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a Question from Clifford: can we export logs based on time range using the tool? Yeah, you can create a query with the time element, and you can even specify a time range, and then you can export everything to Excel. Just be cautious about it, because ULS logs, they can grow exponentially. So if you have multiple servers, and especially if you have configured as a SharePoint to be in verbose mode, so that means it's going to document, or it's going to create a lot of events. I would be very cautious about exporting everything, because we are talking about gigabytes of data in your logs. So we have two questions from Mike and Marcus. They want to know if Pulse is a client application and if they need to install it on a SharePoint server. So SPDocKit Pulse is a client application. You can run it on any computer in your domain, and as long as it can connect to your Active Directory or your domain controller, you can use it from your PC or any other workstation. The account that runs the application needs to have permissions, so mostly all the accounts in the Active Directory domain can connect to Active Directory and read from it. But in order to detect if SharePoint is installed, the account running the tool needs to be administrator of a particular server. So a SharePoint admin or somebody who has permissions to the server will be able to run it, and then we will be able to tell you if that server is actually a SharePoint server. But it doesn't have to run on a SharePoint server. Just install it on your PC, and you will be able to see the data on the screen. Okay, so these are all the questions that we have for today. So if you have anything else, type it in the box. Otherwise, visit us at www.spdockit.com or pulse.spdockit.com. Thank you.
Thank you, and join us next time, of course.
You're going to receive a recording via email, so don't worry about it, slides and everything. So if you missed something, you'll see it in your inbox tomorrow.
Thank you, and goodbye, everyone.
That's it. That's
Yes,
bye.
Bye.